Okay, folks, we're still on the Daily Record. This is a story by Samantha cROAL. Apparently, she's the assistant digital news editor, and Neil Leslie. This is coming out of Ireland, Dublin. You've probably seen this in the news. So, the headline is: a dismembered body dumped in a sports bag in Narcos-style killing, feared to be missing Irish teenager. So let me just try and decode that for you. If it needs decoding, it does for some people, I'd imagine. Narcos is a reference to the Mexican drug wars. In Mexico, if you're not aware of it, the drug wars between the various cartels is well beyond what's kind of happening here, or what I'm going to describe. These guys murder each other and chop each other's heads and chop each other up on a regular basis. In fact, I've got a video that I just put out recently, just to the end of last year, where a gang of these well-trained ex-paramilitary, ex-special forces guys, these are the guys that are in these groups, they're not just random dudes, turn up at a hotel with fully armed weapons, fully automatic weapons, and they raid a hospital, not a hotel. They raid a hospital because they're looking for one of the patients in there. They find the patient, they put him over their shoulders, carry him outside, and then chop him up just down the road. Now that's the real Narcos, all right. But having said that, this is pretty horrific, and I'm saying this with the full knowledge that this is someone's son. Alright, it's always hard. And in the past, I've been contacted, believe it or not, I've done a story once or twice, and I've been contacted by people that are maybe relatives of those involved, and they've asked me, look, can you take that down because that's my dad? Or, there was another time a young boy contacted me after his father had been murdered, and he said, look, that was my dad, and it took a lot of courage to contact you. And I said, do you want me to take it down if I offended you? Because, I'm obviously now aware of that. You can't not, you've got to be sensitive to it. And he said, no, he wanted it to stay up because he wanted people to know what his parents were like. So I felt really sad for that young boy. But anyway, let's get back to this one. So that there is a picture of the Garda in Ireland removing from the scene some body parts. Now, apparently what happened, and I'll start reading it to you, maybe that's going to help. Dismembered body parts dumped in a Narcos-style killing by feuding drug mobs, could be a missing teenager. Human limbs dumped in a sports bag in North Dublin, in a North Dublin housing estate, may belong to a 17-year-old who has been missing for several days. That's dreadful. The discovery was made by a group of youths. Apparently there was a car getting chased, driving through this housing estate, and they threw this bag out the window. These kids went across, obviously thinking maybe it was money or whatever, and they got the shock of their lives when they found out there was body parts in it. It says here, this incident really drives home the need for greater Garda. Garda is the police force resources in the area. Gardaí and Coolock station are overstretched as it is. How many more deaths and brutal incidents such as this must be inflicted upon local residents until they get the help they need? It says the remains were being examined at the city morgue. The head and torso have still not been found. So apparently what's been found then is arms and legs of this person. Can you imagine that, folks? How depraved have you got to be to do that? It's bad enough you go to murder somebody, but it's just crazy, isn't it? And it's all got to do with drug wars in Ireland, apparently. It goes on to talk about that. It says here, the youth was said to have contacts with the faction behind an attempted hit in the town on Monday, which left an innocent taxi driver injured. So somebody from one particular group has tried to murder somebody else, missed, and this young boy is either involved or knows people that were involved. So he's been grabbed, it looks like, and targeted. The intended target, it says here, was a leading member of one of the gangs who escaped unhurt, and it is feared his mob could have carried out the abduction and murder of the teenager. It just says the relatives and friends have been looking for the young boy for days, trying to find him. Worried, sick, obviously. As I say, it's no pleasant talking about this, but we've got to get this out there so people know what's actually happening. So it goes on to describe a couple of bits and pieces here that might have a connection to it. It says here, detectives are also probing a possible link between the victim and drugs gangs in Coolock, the stronghold of the mob boss dubbed Mr. Big. The human remains, believed to be legs and arm, were thrown from a car metres from the scene of the 2018 gangland murder of Ken Finn. The 36-year-old was a hitman for Mr. Big, so there was allegedly a murder took place at this same scene where the body parts were dumped. And this was a guy that worked for Mr. Big, apparently, that was murdered in that same area. The 36-year-old was a hitman for Mr. Big and was a suspect in the shooting dead of a real IRA chief, Alan Ryan. Finn's murder sparked a feud between Mr. Big and a notoriously violent North Side criminal who has just recently been freed from prison. Right. Gardaí feared a surge in violence following this man's release as he vowed revenge for the recent killing of his associate, Richie Carberry, who was gunned down in Betstown, County Meath in November. Mr. Big's gang were suspects for ordering that killing, but sources say it may have been carried out by members. But anyway, we could go on and on about that. You get the drift, don't you? So the mob in Ireland are going stark raving mad, trying to find out who's involved in this, or who they can prove is involved in this. So they've yet to find this guy's torso in his head. Goodness knows where it is. Basically, it goes on to say if you've got any information, contact the Grassline or the generic Crime Stalkers Grassline, you know. But in this case, I doubt they're going to have any people coming forward to that, because that will be done by a tight group of people. They're looking obviously for CCTV image, dash cam images. That's what they all look for. They always look for dash cam images and stuff like that, because most people have got dash cams now, if you've not got security on your house and stuff. Anyway, so that's what's happening in Ireland. It's non-stop, folks, isn't it? Yeah. Start of the new year. Holy Toledo. Anyway, if you like the content, hit the like button, share and subscribe. Peace out.